Welcome, everyone, to a really exciting talk that we're going to have about removing love blocks, calling in our soulmate, or twin flame, or lover, or beloved, or whatever word that you like to use for that incredibly special, compatible, 100% F yeah relationship that we're talking about. Not a codependent relationship that you have to try at, that you have to force at, that's really not in alignment for you. By the way, can everyone hear me pretty well? Could someone say something in the comments? I just want to make sure my microphone is working well before we get started. Yes, thank you for that, Marcy. Yeah, welcome everyone. We're going to have a pretty full house tonight, I bet. Pretty much any time we do a topic on love, sex, money, people are interested, right? So we're going to have a great conversation about a topic that I really, really love because honestly, I love love. I love love so much. And love is not just about being in a romantic partnership. It's about recognizing yourself in another. Love is about recognizing that this tree, this squirrel, this other human being, anything, when you have a reverence and a connection for it and with it, that's ultimately love. So this deep unconditional love, and whenever we're experiencing this deep unconditional love and we have our hearts open, love will come to you. Love will come to you. And of course, if you've planted the seed of having a particular type of relationship experience, you are a conscious creator. You can do that. If you want to have a relationship, a particular type of experience, a particular type of partner, it might be that y'all both run a business together and that you're having passionate, ecstatic sex all the time. It could be something very different. Maybe you're traveling the world, doing humanitarian work, or you're like building a house and raising a family. We all have different desires. We all have different things that we'd like to experience in this life, and that's beautiful. So in this talk, I'm going to go into removing these love blocks because you might be like, yeah, that sounds really good, but why is it not here right now? Why is my soulmate not here? I've been attending talks. I've been listening to podcast episodes. I've been doing meditations. I've done so many new moon rituals. You have no idea. And why is my soulmate not here? And regardless of if we have the intentionality and we're thinking a certain way, right? That law of attraction, electric thought that's putting the impulse into the universe. The magnetism is super important. The magnetism is how we're feeling. And it's not just about, I'm consciously aware of this emotion. We have 95% of our thoughts. We have habitual programs running all the time. That 95% is what's giving you your reality. So if you have love blocks that you haven't excavated and recognized, this is what's holding me back. This is what's holding me back from loving myself. This is what's holding me back from loving others. What's going on here? We do the work. We bring awareness to it. We change. And then we can manifest. Because once you bring awareness to what's blocking and restricting the flow of that which you desire to experience, and then you change it, it has to happen. It's inevitable. Your soulmate experience, that twin flame, whatever type of relationship that you're calling into your life, it's inevitable that it will happen because you are a conscious creator. So it's exciting that we get to have this talk today. Welcome, everyone. If you haven't met me before, I am Michael Hodge, which is pretty obvious. It's probably listed on the screen. I've been leading a spiritual community called You Transformed for 2.5 years and have gone through various relationship situations myself, from being in a relationship for 12 years and getting a divorce a couple of years ago that was more of a codependent relationship, more of the traditional older paradigm approach. And I've since been in a couple of conscious, soul-blowing, really passionate, deeply connected, energetically aligned relationships. And they're tremendously different. So I really love talking about conscious relationships and experiencing them. And I'm in a lot of conscious relationships. It's not just a romantic relationship. So before we get into all of that, let's do a real quick meditation. It's just a moment in time so that we can open up our heart Because if your heart is open, you're going to be more susceptible to receiving this information. And by the way, if you want to experience more love in your life, you need to open your heart. It's really the secret. Let's just do it now. Let's get it over with at the beginning of our talk. Just kidding. I love doing it. So everyone, just close your eyes and relax. Go ahead and open up your third eye, though. And relax into this moment. You are perfect exactly as you are, where you are. You are exactly where you should be in every way. And feel gratitude for you arriving to this moment in your life, for being in this talk tonight with so many amazing, beautiful souls who are supporting you, for being surrounded and being guided by Spirit to greater and greater levels of love. It's such a blessing for this to happen. How much gratitude do you experience in your heart for knowing this to be true for you? And take a deep breath in and feel that. And exhale. And on this breath, we're going to breathe in and bring in more energy. And as you exhale, send that love out to everyone who's in our group in this moment, everyone who's here connected with us. Inhale. Exhale. Send it out with intention and love, lifting up everyone's heart so that everyone is experiencing this in their heart as well. You're radiating your love and your intention, that all are experiencing this bliss, that all are receiving their desires, their manifestations, these experiences. Feel that in your heart and feel your heart pouring out into everyone's heart in this moment. Take one more deep breath in for yourself, loving that you showed up in this moment and that you're present and that you love everything about yourself. Inhale. Exhale. Just enjoy that feeling in your heart. Once you're ready, you can open your eyes again and maintain that feeling in your heart. We're going to keep that there the whole time. My heart is now more open than it was. Some of you may feel energy over your heart, over your chest. Even if you don't, that's okay. You might just have an experience of an emotion. But that's really good, right? When you have that physiological awareness, you're like, yeah, my heart is open right now. And you can tell when it's not. You can tell when you're not centered, whenever your heart is closed down because you're hurt, because something happened to you, and you're essentially becoming a victim to a person, a place, a thing, an event. And it's okay to have an emotional response. But when your heart is closed off, it's keeping you from giving love out. And of course, it's keeping you from receiving it. You cut off the circuitry. And if you cut off that circuit, well, yeah, you're definitely not going to be able to call in your soulmate. So let's start with that. If you want to experience an incredibly deep, connected, fully aligned, soul-blowing, 100% F yeah relationship, calling in your soulmate, begin loving more now. You give what you want to receive. If you want to experience more love in your life, you bring that love now. Even just in that short meditation that we did, it was like 2 minutes. And you were sending love out to everyone's heart. When you want everyone else around you to have something that you also desire, and it comes from a place of authenticity, that's incredibly powerful. Because you know what? We're actually all one. So when you love someone and you want something for someone else, you literally want that thing for yourself. And what does that do? This individualized human form of you now has created an electromagnetism in this material universe. And you're creating a vibrational resonance to that experience. You're drawing it to you. You don't have to go out and find it. You don't have to swipe on dating apps every night. You don't have to do that. You plant the seed, you begin loving more and more and more. And really the biggest block for most of us is loving ourselves. Because you're only able to love others and experience a level of love that you have for yourself. What are examples of not being loving to ourselves? And by the way, as we're going along in this talk, if you guys have a question, comment you want to throw out, I definitely do like interactivity. So if I say something and it brings up something for you that you'd like to ask or comment on, definitely feel free to do that. And I'll do my best to engage with it unless I'm right in the middle of a flow. So regarding self-love, simple things like being aware of, do you fill up your own cup first? Do you take the time out to meditate, to exercise, to get your own things in order? Or do you feel guilty when you do that for yourself? Selfish, which is a conditioned pattern from society or parents or someone else telling you that that's selfish, because it's not. Self-love is incredibly impactful for you and for everyone around you. So doing things for yourself, but also, how do you talk to yourself? What words do you use? What's your self-talk? What about whenever you make a mistake? When something doesn't go the way you want it to? Do you beat yourself up and self-flagellate? How do you reflect upon who you are? Can you walk into a room and feel authentic in yourself and love yourself so much that you don't feel diminished by anyone? Whether you walk into the room of distinguished, enlightened beings or highly successful business people, whoever, you walk down the street next to those who are homeless, you go anywhere, when you love yourself so much, you're like, I know I'm a gift to the world. We're all gifts to the world. And you recognize you have a unique energy. You're here for a reason. I have a purpose. Even if you don't know what that purpose is exactly, know that you have a purpose. Know that you are special. We are all special, of course. And it's not some egotistical, narcissistic thing. We're like, oh, I can't think that I'm special because that means that others are not. No, everyone is. But once you recognize it, once you love who you are, that comes through. I mean, honestly, I'm feeling so much love right now. I led this class last night for You Transformed in Dallas. I teach local classes. It was just so amazing. We went to dinner. The energy was so palpable. So many hugs, so much laughter, so much connection. And today I just went to a yoga class and I just had to go up to hug my yoga teacher a few times. The people in my classroom, I was like, it's just a hugging day. And spreading that joy and giving heart hugs and Om hugs, which is something that I invented. I don't know if anyone else does it, but it's pretty loving. The point is, when you're vibrating that way, when you're loving life, when you're finding the joy around you, and we're shifting into that, we are vibrating love. The universe knows that we have the desire, right? We've already planted the seed to call in our soulmate. We've planted the seed to call in that passionate, next level relationship experience. Okay, so let's move on to a couple more things. A couple of things here that I kind of want to, I'm going to burst your bubble possibly. You're like, yay, soulmates, this is fun. And I love doing fun stuff like that. I'm hosting an event called Craft Your Lover Libation, where we're going to make custom drinks that signify our lover and then drink it all in. It's going to be really fun. So people who are coming to the Love Transformed, it's a 2-day retreat about love and relationships that we're hosting in June. And but this is a special event that we're doing next month. The point is that's really fun. It's good to have fun. And it's good to just get into the juiciness of the experience and not take it so seriously. But I want to mention something, which is many of us focus too much on a romantic partner. I'm guilty of this. Trust me, I'm very guilty of this. In the past, I've been bringing a level of awareness to it, though. It's like, oh yeah, once I have everything, life's going pretty well. I have some friends and I'm doing well with work and my body's pretty well, but I don't have that romantic partner. And it's like once I'm in that romantic relationship, everything will change. It's that final piece for me. A couple things about this. First of all, that's a desperation, and you're showing a separation to the universe vibrationally, which is, of course, keeping it away. Another thing is when you have that belief, and once that partner does arrive, because I've experienced this a few times already in my life, I like drop my friends, I drop my family members, I like stop going other places. Everything's like about this partner. Has anyone else had this experience? Would anyone else like to share? Yep. All right, thank you for sharing that, Megan. So yeah, you did, but not anymore. It's awesome. Because what happens is that we think that we're going to be guaranteed to get all of our needs met. Like once I have that partner, I'll have someone to talk to, emotional support, intimacy, traveling, and just all the little moments. And if you have this belief that that's going to be there for me and that's going to be it, and like we're going to be together for the rest of our lives or something, there are a lot of attachments, and it creates an energy of codependency because you have all of your eggs in one basket, even if you're not aware of it. So you lean into it so much, and like you're willing to change who you're being. You're willing to basically not be your authentic self just to merge with this relationship and keep it going and keep it alive. And look, if it's authentic and you're fully aligned to you and they're fully aligned to them and you come in union, that's amazing. That's really what we want to have as an experience. And I'm not saying we shouldn't spend time with our partners, but having a balance. Yeah, so Megan, you said you have a core group of friends. If you met someone, I will keep them separate and continue to enjoy my friends. Yep, very cool. So exactly, keeping our friends, our family, our activities. It's like be you and your partner will be them. And you can obviously have union as well. So just keeping that in mind to not overly focus on this. And another thing I want to mention is it's just kind of harrowing, but also liberating. All relationships, yeah, I'll mention that in a second, Kathy. Thank you for the question. All relationships will end. So just let that sink in for a moment. And you might be like, I'm upset when I heard that. I don't like that. What I mean is that all 3D relationships, all matter to matter, like in the human form, Michael Hodge and whoever else I'm in a relationship with, it's going to end. It's going to end. If I meet someone now and we join into a relationship, maybe we're together a year. Maybe we're together for 30 years. One of us are going to transition. One of us are going to die out of our body, right? It's going to end then. This is actually very liberating when you recognize this, because I think a lot of people don't have this recognition. And they're like, oh, okay, if I just do everything right, I've gone through all this spiritual work. I know, because I kind of had this experience myself going much deeper in spiritual practices. I'm like, okay, I'm going to manifest this perfect person. I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to clear all the blocks. This person's going to come to me and they're going to be the one. They're going to be the one. And I did have an experience like that. And it was really, it was an incredible relationship. But ultimately, relationships have a reason, a season, or potentially a lifetime. And so recognizing that it's not always, all relationships are going to end. And part of this is it liberates you to go all in. For me, I'm not afraid, because we're afraid, like if I love someone, if I show up too deeply and they don't, or what could happen if I'm, bare my heart and all these things and I give too much. And of course, if you're giving and giving and giving and not receiving anything in return, it's not a good relationship. You don't need to be in it. But what I'm saying is that many of us have held back our love out of fear of losing the relationship. Because we're like, I've been burned in the past. I had the rug pulled out from under me in the past. These things have happened before. I was cheated on and someone broke up with me and this and that. So like you get scared as you enter into a relationship. If you can die to the past and bring that forward as wisdom and no longer have like an emotional reaction to that relationship experience, that's very powerful. And when you realize, oh yeah, every relationship's gonna end. Now, yes, of course, I realize it. There's a beautiful aspect of multidimensionality. We have soul family. We have soulmates, twin flames, etc. that we experience this deep intensity when we meet someone because we have a relationship maturity that goes beyond the lifetime that we're currently living in. We might not even be aware of it because we're not perceiving things at a higher dimensional perception. And that's pretty cool. So the relationships do continue, right? This person that's your lover in this lifetime might be your mother in the next lifetime. You might have a wide variety of experiences. I do believe that we go through soul groups and soul families in a sense. So, right, just like we don't have 10,000 friends in this lifetime, it doesn't make sense. We have a smaller group, a smaller network that we have stronger bonds to. Although I don't fully, have this scientifically proven, my understanding is that also happens outside of this time and space. So that's cool, right? Our relationships continue, but it's this deep, higher level of love that's not just connected to this romanticized aspect of love. So Kathy asked a question: how do you find that balance of commitment and connection with your romantic partner while still being you, while still maintaining your friends and your family and your other activities? I don't have a perfect answer for you, Kathy. It's just going into that relationship already knowing that you're going to do it is really helpful. So as you start to get closer and closer with someone and you're spending time, it's just like showing up for yourself and honestly even telling your partner, like, yeah, it's really important to me that I go to yoga once a week. And it's really making the choices, because we can totally get swept up in that hormonal, like early honeymoon stage, even you could say. We get really swept in and like we want to spend every moment together. What I would say is like, yeah, it's good to spend time together and enjoy the experience, but make sure you're still being your authentic self and make sure life isn't only about that other person. That's actually going to strengthen the relationship, right? Whenever we're apart, when we have different experiences, when you have conversations with other people, when your partner goes on a trip and goes to a retreat or a conference and they come back and you share. And if you do everything together all the time, there's a lot of semblance. There's a lot of the same. So what I mean is it's very powerful for the relationship. The sweet spot of a conscious relationship, yeah, I think, of course, Kathy, for me is unconditional love, alignment, while not being attached and still committed to the union. So it's deep love, alignment, unattached, commitment. You're like, how can you be unattached and committed? You can. You can be so committed. It's really about being committed to who you are being in the relationship and committed to the union that you're in, but not being attached to it having to be there. If you're like overly attached to needing this other person to feel a certain way, overly attached to needing them to be there for you all the time, and like you've put all your eggs in one basket, that creates a big imbalance. It creates a lack mindset around love and isn't going to be that strong, powerful, deep connection that we're looking for overall in the balance and harmony in our life. Dropping expectations, Ezekiel. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So ultimately, expectations can be considered attachment. I don't use that word as much, but of course, that is a way to look at that. And then commitment still, though. But you can absolutely still be committed to the union, but it's day by day. I'm going to mess this up, but Abraham Hicks has this marriage vows that I really love. It's something about like, I'm going to wake up and fully align to myself, and then I want you to wake up. You're going to wake up fully aligned to you, and if we come together, absolutely amazing. We'll see what happens after that. I've totally messed it up, but it's essentially every day, like fully aligned to you. Every day, your partner is going to fully align to them, and if that alignment happens to take you together, which it probably is, which is why you're a frequency match and you came together originally, go all in, like be committed to that. But yeah, conscious uncouplings take place, like relationships can and do end and transition. So not being afraid of that, embracing it. Oh, hey, Axel, good to have you here again. If you guys have any questions, anything coming up so far, getting all the hearts. I love you guys. I appreciate that. This is a very loving place to be. You're in the right spot if you love love. Yeah, because that's what we want to be vibrating. So I love this quote. I just made it up. I mean, maybe someone else says it. your current life is extended to the edge of your beliefs. I'll say that again. Your current life is extended to the edge of your beliefs. I mean, with anything. If you believe you can only run 3 miles when you go out in the morning, that's what you're going to do. If you only believe you can have this type of relationship, that's what you're going to have. If you only believe you can make $100,000 a year, and that's what you're going to have. Your current life is extended to that edge of belief. So recognizing what beliefs are limiting your experience, what beliefs are keeping you back from what's ultimately a deeper desire for you that you know you can create as a conscious creator. I mean, you are source individualized. It's pretty cool. I mean, we all are. So there are no limits. And really the biggest theme of this talk tonight is going to be about this. Asking the question, what blocks you from loving? I want you to sit with that for a moment. What blocks you from loving? Don't skirt by this one. What blocks you from loving yourself? What blocks you from loving others? What blocks you from loving a stranger that you meet somewhere? Why do you not give love out to certain people in certain situations? What blocks you from loving your father or your mother, even though you deeply love and connect with your sister or your brother? What blocks you from loving your president or someone who you had a traumatic experience with? I mean, lots of things could be questioned. But whenever you recognize love blocks, patterns within yourself, like why do we recreate the same relationship? Maybe you've had the experience where it's a new body, it's a new person, new personality, yet you have the same relationship pattern. The same thing takes place because you didn't change, right? You have to change yourself. We've got to recognize what's blocking our love. The narrative keeps coming up. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Sia. And I'm curious what you mean by the narrative as well, so feel free to elaborate if you'd like, because it could be a personal narrative or a collective one. But look within yourself. Are you blocking love because you're needy and desperate? That means you're not being it. You're not giving it. When you already are something, you already are wholeness, right? We don't even have the desire for something outside of it. The pattern you're used to, your limiting beliefs. Exactly, Sia. So recognizing what that pattern is that's first awareness. Recognizing that this particular pattern, and if you have an example of a pattern that's coming up for you or anyone, I'd love to hear it because it helps me give even more direct guidance when I have concrete examples. But by the way, I actually do. I want everyone to share a love block that they have. And by the way, if you're afraid to share, that's a love block. It's just a joke within myself. But no, legitimately, sharing even in a group like this is you being vulnerable. It's you wearing your heart on your sleeve. It's you not being afraid to be you, to speak up. If you can't be vulnerable with a bunch of beautiful strangers on Insight Timer, it's going to be pretty hard in your romantic relationship. This is your playground. This is your sandbox. Let's go. So I invite you. I invite you to dig deep, recognize something. If you have no love blocks, I mean, that's awesome. Honestly, please do an Insight Timer talk because I want to attend it. Yeah, so Sia, you said you tend to be drawn to unavailable people. Are you unavailable, Sia? But then you said your heart is too open. By the way, Sia, I don't believe that that's possible. Now, what is possible is that your heart is so open, you give so much, but you aren't allowing yourself to receive. Or you're putting yourself in situations in which, like you said, unavailable people who aren't returning that love. You have to love yourself so much that you won't be in that environment. And until you align, you'll start loving yourself and you'll start loving others. Trust me, friends will come to you. Animals will come to you. You'll have a romantic partner as well. Like, you're going to have more love in your life. Yeah, that's awesome, Sia. You're not afraid to love others. But like you said, I think what we hit on for you, Sia, is that you love and you're a giver and you're so generous and you give it out. But you haven't stood up for yourself, that strong backbone. It's like, I deserve love too. And until you do that, and it's not forcing someone like, hey, you got to love me. Why don't you ever give me anything? No, it's, if you're in a very unloving situation, this is what happened in my marriage. And I love my ex-wife. I think she's an amazing co-parent. I was just doting on her earlier and sent her a message. Like, I told her that I was doting on her at dinner last night, which I was. But in our relationship, I showed up and I was such a giver. I'm such a server, and, planning special things, writing poems and doing just like all these little acts of kindness and being there. And I didn't get that stuff in return. I mean, she didn't plan things for me. She didn't give me gifts. She didn't write. Like, I wasn't really receiving a whole lot. And I allowed myself to stay there for a very long time out of fear of losing the relationship. What I'm saying is that I had to ultimately be like, hey, this is who I am. Like, if you don't love who I am, and it's not loving to me to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't reciprocate, because I have to have a full cup that's overflowing to overflow to everyone else. Because I love so much. I love everyone so much. And yeah, it was crazy. Like, people, a lot of people from the outside looking in were like, I don't understand why y'all are in a relationship, because it was very mismatched in that way. I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Give and Take by, I think that's what it's called, Give and Take by Adam Grant. And he did this big study about everyone is classified in 3 different areas: givers, takers, or matchers. Givers, we're just naturally wired, and I'm sure all of you here are givers. Like, we're naturally wired to have an open heart, which, by the way, people can switch, but the baseline will most likely be one of the 3. Givers are naturally wired to give and give and give, and it's like, how can I help? How can I help? I don't need anything in return. But they're actually sometimes really bad at that. They're like, you don't have to help me. You don't have to help me. You're not receiving anything. You're cutting off the flow. You have to receive love as well. You have to be open to it. But then takers are just like looking for opportunities to take and take and take and take and not really add anything to the equation. So givers are a smaller percentage of the population. Takers are a smaller percentage. The largest percentage of the population are called matchers. That, something gets done for them and they're like, oh yeah, tomorrow I've got to give them something back now. It's like, oh, I owe you one. I owe you one. And that's a matcher mentality. So it's just recognizing that. I mean, if you're a giver and you're in a relationship with a taker, you got to end that relationship pretty soon. So yeah, you got to, I think that you're a giver, but you might not be a receiver. So that's my intuition right now about that for you is... Thank you for the emojis, Kathy. So what I'm saying is that, how can you start receiving? Because if you ask the question, how can I have this experience of being aligned to a giver? And by the way, envision it, experience it, meditate tonight and get it in that zone and be like, this feels so good to be. How does it feel when I receive? How does it feel when I receive? You see someone, you can see the scenes visually, you can feel the emotion of someone like making you food, like doing something with you sexually that like you always do for someone or whatever it is. Like you're receiving that. And then see it in your life. When you see someone offering help to you, someone's like, hey, can I help you with that? Or just little things. Whereas in the past, you might have been like, no, it's okay. It's okay. I've got it. No, I appreciate that though. Thank you though. Literally accept it. Because what's happening is that the universe is sending you love. And you're like, no. I want love in the form of a romantic relationship. I don't want another friend. I don't want to make thank you, Sam. I don't want to make a new friend at yoga tonight. I want to go home and get on Hinge. Like, I'm looking for a romantic partner, not a friend. The universe sends love to you in different forms. And when you don't receive that love, you're telling the universe that you don't receive that love. Therefore, it's not going to come to you in all the forms that you desire. So like you said, Olga, being a giver that attracts takers is you not allowing yourself to receive, not loving yourself enough, not realizing I'm worthy of receiving as well. And having the conversation, being in that relationship. And if it doesn't change, you love yourself so much that you end the relationship from the best and highest good, from a place of higher love, because that is not loving to you to be in that relationship any longer. You stand up for yourself, and you will attract givers and those who you allow now, because you've set a standard for yourself. Yeah, so just looking at some comments here. Thanks, Carolina, for chiming in, and Janice, and Ezekiel. Carolina said, you give and been backwards for others, especially your partner. He's a taker. I understand, Carolina. I mean, having upfront conversations, doing the work to align to your truest self, aligning to self-love. And you get to a point, Carolina, that here's the thing. Whenever I was married and, we were together for 12 years, I was on a deeply spiritual path for several years. I went through chronic pain, and it really brought me through this crucible of purifying absolutely everything. I was like, look, I've purified all of my thoughts, my emotions, my actions, my food, like what I do, how I live my life. Why do I still have chronic pain? I honestly didn't understand. I was like, why am I still alive? Like, I'm doing all the things I believed, right? What happens is that we do need to do all the work internally first. There comes a point where you've done everything internally. Not everything, but I mean, you've made a lot of shifts internally. And that internal change will lead you to needing to make external changes, because the world around you that you're currently experiencing may no longer be in vibrational alignment to this new, greater, like more loving version of you. And that's exactly what happened in my. I didn't open up to that possibility. I was like, no. Like, I'm going to show up every day. I'm an amazing husband and father, and I'm going to show up and serve others. I'm a leader of light. And I basically was not recognizing the fact that the relationship that I was in was very imbalanced, very toxic, abusive in ways. It wasn't. Our environment can affect this. So even if you're doing all this alignment work, but you're in a really negative relationship or terrible job or workplace or things like this, you can very much, it's possible that you're going to be led to making a choice. It's not just that you align to the greatest version of yourself and like all these bad things fall away. I mean, the universe will start to assist it, but there are times when you have to make the choice, like break up with the person or get a divorce or leave your job, right? Do you love yourself enough to do that if you have the intuitional guidance? By the way, if you're intuitively guided to do something such as ending a relationship and you know it in your heart, that means it's for everyone's best and highest good that's involved. Because do you know intuitional guidance comes from a higher level, from source, from spirit? Therefore, you can't have any guilt. You can't have any guilt or shame or this chagrin within yourself, because you know it's for everyone's best and highest good if it came through your heart. Take a look at a couple more comments here. By standard, do you mean boundaries? Yeah, getting the hearts going. Love that. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to give myself some love too right there. Give me a couple of hearts. Doing some self-love hearts there. Yeah, standards are boundaries as well as standards of how you are treated. I mean, so you know that you're only going to be in a relationship with someone who gives back to you as well. And you set that intention in the universe. You align to that. When you meet someone like that, you start to become more attuned to someone's energy. Like, I know in just a conversation or two, if someone's in alignment, if they are in alignment and a match for me. And it might take a little longer than that in some cases, but you can begin to discern based upon the way someone feels energetically. their heart being open. Little things, I mean, honestly, little things that people say, little offerings of, open heart acts that on a first date or a first meeting I recognize with someone, you begin to become aware of these things. And you'll only enter into a relationship with someone who feels that way because you love yourself so much and you deserve that. So Megan says, what is it, and good to see you, by the way, Megan, what is it about us that attracts these takers? It's almost like a magnet. How do we change that? I'm going to take a drink of water. It has a lot to do with self-love, boundaries, respect for yourself, and holding strong to this and receiving love in the way that it's coming to you now as well. But it's ultimately, Megan, and I don't have all the perfect answers, but what I'm getting for this is we're attracting someone because we've been victimized by that in some way. And when we know we are no longer a victim to that, it's like, no, I am a giver. I am a lover. This is who I am. And these are the relationships that I bring in. Like I said, changing your beliefs as well. It's like, this is what I attract. This is who I am now. And recognizing that heart energy, recognizing that love in others and feeling into that and receiving. It's just about more and more and more levels of love that we're experiencing and love for ourselves. Because you'll love yourself so much that you're vibrating in this way that is giving and generous, but it's also receiving. You love yourself so much and you know that you're worthy of any and all experiences. So that's really important. I have a meditation called I Am Worthy to Receive. I think it's on Insight Timer. It's on my YouTube channel. It's really, really good if you haven't done it. Thank you, Carolina, for the comment. And then Haresh, good to see you again. That's the exact reason I let go of my relationship, putting up with no reciprocation. Didn't feel like I was honoring myself. That's a heart high five right there, Haresh. And we go through experiences. Don't beat yourself up about it, right? We go through different levels and contrast, and we have rockets of desire for something different. So you feel into that partner. You feel into that experience. You're drawing it to you. You don't have to go anywhere to find it. And you wake up from your meditation. You wake up from your energy practices as if it's already here. And by the way, Megan, you're like, how do we change that? We attract takers. And do you allow people to be takers in other aspects of your life? It's not just a romantic relationship thing. If you overextend yourself at work and you let people take advantage of you, but you're like, I'm afraid though. I'm afraid if I don't keep showing up the way I am, like working an extra 3 hours every day, like I might lose my job. I mean, honestly, it's like I love myself so much. I'm a tremendous asset to this organization. These are my standards. If you don't meet them, I'm leaving because this is who I am and this is what I deserve. And I know that I make a contribution here and I know my value. And you know what happens when you do that? When you put it all on the table, your boss is like, damn, we're giving you a raise. I know because I have a lot of people in my life that have told me that. I've never worked for anyone, so I don't know. And that's also because I have such a high standard. There's no way I'm going to work for anyone. I'm like, no, I'm going to create my own experiences. What I mean is, do you let takers take advantage of you in other aspects of your life? Do you let a business or an organization do something to you? Do you let your boss, your coworkers, your kids, your neighbors, whoever? It's standing in your power and your sovereignty with high quality no's, with high quality communications that are based in love, not in egoic battling, not in fighting someone just for the drama of it and wanting to win out of a competitive, perception of life. So yeah, Megan, I think it's about recognizing, are there any takers in your life now? Well, they're there because you're letting them take. So change that. And that's going to change all the relationships in your life. Honestly, all the relationships in my life are freaking amazing. It's so cool. Literally every relationship in my life is so loving. And it wasn't always like that. And I had a little bit of concern. I'm like, honestly, I'm not sure if I'm going to have an amazing relationship with my ex-wife. It's possible that all the other ones will be good, but that one will be challenging. But even that's awesome. And I mean, the first year was a little rocky, but I'm just saying that when you hold that highest value, the highest vision for these relationships, and you go into meditation and you communicate with someone's higher self and you love them and you love the antagonist of your life story, you know, you love that person that you don't want to love. You're like, that ex that did this thing to me and this traumatic experience and this, there's no way I would love someone like that. If you open your heart to that person, which again, by the way, they're you, because we're all one, we're all related, we're all connected from source and God, right? Whatever word you want to use. That heals your heart and that opens your heart wider than you would ever think. More love's going to come to you in your life, trust me. So this has been really fun. It's about falling in love with you, falling in love with life, falling in love with everyone, being passionate. Passion is experiencing life force energy rushing through you in the present moment. How can you do that now? You know, what are you going to feel like once you're in a relationship with your soulmate? Are you going to go on a trip? Are you going to start dancing more? Like, what are you going to do? Start doing some of those things now. I mean, I know, I realize there are a couple of experiences that are hard without the partner. I'm aware of that. But we can still connect into the energy and be that way now. Because if we're like, oh, someday once I'm with that person, I'll finally be happy. No, you won't. You need to be happy and joyous and fully whole and complete now. So I'd love to answer some more questions. If you're like, okay, I've got some love blocks that I'd love to throw at you, Michael. Love to hear them. Any questions? Any doubts? Any comments? Nicole says, I find practicing all the things that I love to do for a love or for myself is very helpful. Yep. That I'm in that energy of receiving and giving. That's amazing. Nicole, do you mind sharing a few things? Because I really like that you shared that. Because it gives people an idea. Many people here don't do this, and I'd love to hear what you mean by that. Catherine, that's pretty, you have a great sense of humor. She said, maybe if we become takers, we will attract givers. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. That's actually really funny, though. Love some more questions or comments. Yeah, baths. Okay, Nicole says baths, dinners, taking yourself on dates, singing love songs to myself. Nicole, you are vibrating love. Like, this is amazing. Rub on my own feet. That's an A+ right there. I really love that you're doing all that. That's a lot of self-love. You're enjoying your life. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so we have a little bit more time here before we end the talk. I might mention this. Any other questions, though, real quick, and then I might go into this really amazing approach to changing anything in your life. It's a metaphor that I use that is definitely worth listening to. But connect to your higher self as another person to love. Wow. That's next level stuff, Nicole. You just raised the bar. It's awesome. So I'll give you guys some time to think of any other questions as we're trying hard is kind of a difficult phrase to use, but at the same time, I appreciate your commitment for sure. That's definitely awesome. Just real quick, it's something that I just went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat last week, which is unbelievably awesome. I've been to 3 of them, and at You Transform, we do similar work. I really love his approach. Yeah, well, it's cool too, because I didn't know I was going to go to this particular event. But the point is, there's a lot that could be said there. There's one thing that came up, and this is a metaphor that I've used before, but it just probably received even more clarity with it. And that is, if there's something that you want to change in your life, even if it's in the past, you can do this to heal traumatic experiences as well. But if you want to create something that currently doesn't exist in this time and space, here's the metaphor. We have source as the projector. So a projector, it projects light. It projects light onto a slide or a film strip. You know, I'll just say a slide, but it projects light onto the slide, and whatever imprint, whatever impression or pattern is on the slide shows up on the screen, right? The screen, the movie screen or whatever. That movie screen, that's 3D reality. That's the stuff around you. That's your life experience, right? That we're happening now. Source, the projector is source from where it all comes. I mean, the creator, oneness. I mean, that's ultimately your highest version of who you are. The slide is consciousness. It's consciousness choosing to put a pattern into the field, into the quantum field, into the quantum field outside of time and space. So what I'm saying is that if you want to have a different life experience on the screen, change the slide. You're that powerful because the pattern in the field, the slide, informs matter, not the other way around. So if you're experiencing life right now without a partner, without joy and fun and passion, and instead of just like forcing yourself to do it matter to matter today, and like, I'm going to go party and I'm going to do all these things and I'm going to do what Michael said, get into it. We got to make an energetic shift. Do this at the level of the quantum field outside of time and space, above the speed of light. The speed of light is kind of slow, actually. I mean, it takes light years just for us to see the light from a star such as Arcturus. That's really slow. Yet you can energetically connect with an Arcturian right now and have a conversation. How is that? That's because it's an instantaneous connection in the quantum field outside of time and space. I know I got a little bit deeper on a tangent here, but I want to mention this because source is the light. Source is always pouring out this energy that animates all life. But as an individualized creator, you're an individualized consciousness. You can change the slide. So if the slide of your life currently doesn't have love in it, a lover, friends, whatever, change it. How do you change it? I mean, I love Dispenza's meditations. I have some meditations as well on Insight Timer. I have one called Time Machine. I have one called Future Vision Meditation. These are good ones. And what you do is, first of all, you open your heart. That's really important. Open your heart, experience more love. That's the center of creation. And you can do things like Kundalini breathing and the breath, and that also creates a magnetic field around you. That's pretty helpful because then you're drawing things to you from the quantum field. So you create a heart coherence, and then you're going to create brain coherence. How do we create brain coherence? Because whenever you have your attention on all of these knowns around you, like, oh yeah, I am single, I am lonely, I'm here. Oh yeah, this is how my body looks, this is how I feel, this is what I'm experiencing. You have all this sensory input. Your brain's wiring and firing all the time, or really shooting and firing off in your prefrontal cortex. So you have all this activity. So we place our attention on no thought, nowhere, no thing, and no time. You go beyond the knowns. You go fully into the unknown, in the void and the blackness. Now your energy, your consciousness alone. And you can put out the thought, that visualization, that thought of you. You create a new pattern. That's literally where you change the slide out. Like, here's the new slide. The new slide, my partner and I are having this experience. I have friends around me. I'm loving people. I'm being loved in return. And you feel the emotions, that electromagnetism. You're so close to source. You're above the speed of light. I mean, you are being it. You are experiencing it truly. It's created in the quantum field already. And once you come back down out of your meditation, how can you live life like that? I'm not saying it may not be at the exact same level, but if the closer you can be to experiencing that with your waking state, not looking for it, not walking into any room and be like, is that my soulmate? Is that my soulmate? Is that my soulmate? Not going places like trying and efforting and forcing. And that's telling, of course, the universe that it's separate. You don't believe that it's here. You don't know that it's done. But give the universe time. right? Things work out how and when they should, but as a conscious creator, you're aligning to that frequency, so the frequency match will come to you. So I just wanted to mention that. I think it's a pretty cool metaphor about changing the slide out and not doing it at the level of beta brainwaves right now. Like, don't just think, yeah, that'd be really nice to have this partner. No, that's not going to do anything. Because we also need to change at the subconscious level. Like, oh, wow, I actually am love. I love myself. That's why if you do affirmations, you've got to drop down into alpha or theta, like go down into lower brainwaves by getting connected and centered, and then do the affirmations. Or else they're not going to hit your subconscious. They're not going to make any deep changes within who you are. So, yeah, that's cool, Rob, that you are going to see Dr. Joe in Denver next month. I think that's the progressive that they're filming. So that's really cool. Have an amazing time. Catherine, would I recommend dating apps? The short answer is no, but the long answer is that, of course, it is a way in which you can connect. It's about how you use the dating app. Admittedly, I used a dating app for a week. I used one for, it was like 3 months, 4 months after I separated from my wife. And the story is this. I'll go ahead and share it. The story is this. I was in the stage still of like looking, like, oh yeah, maybe this is the person. Maybe this is the person. Hopefully I'll connect with someone and, you know, whatever. But what happened is I was going to an Abraham Hicks workshop. And I went to the workshop. I'm like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of spiritual ladies here. This is going to be a cool place. And like having an expectation that I might meet someone there. And Esther was sick. I'm like, what? I didn't get to see her. She didn't. I mean, I was literally about to walk in the door and they shut it down and stuff. It was. So I was saddened, right, by that experience. And I was driving back from Austin to Dallas. And on the way, I just felt like this sadness and this frustration and this desperation. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I can get on a dating app. So I got on one, and I was on there for like a week and swiping, and it just felt awful. Seriously felt awful. Like, getting sucked in. My energy was, I know when my energy is aligned and when it's not. And I was about to delete it. And like, I saw this woman on there, and she actually replied. I'm like, huh, okay, well, she actually seems like she could be a good match maybe. And like, we talked for a few days, and it was like a terrible situation. We were basically fighting almost. It was really weird. And then we finally met in person, and I already knew we weren't going to be together. What I'm trying to share, though, is that in this case with me, the sponsoring emotion when I made a choice was desperation. The sponsoring emotion that you're experiencing when you make a choice affects the outcome. So if you just like, you're having a great night, you're like dancing, you're like, yeah, that'd be fun. Like, you pull out a dating app, you just see what's going on, and you just move on. Maybe you swipe, I don't know, I think it's right, I can't remember. You swipe the direction that is liking someone, I guess. And the point is, if you do that and you don't have you're not overly connected, you don't get anxious, you're not like, oh, hopefully someone replies. Hopefully someone replies. It's monitoring yourself. It's extremely, honestly, I think it's really hard to do that for most people with dating apps. I mean, I don't know. I think it's like trying to I don't know. It's not a good metaphor. I was saying give up alcohol and then drinking a less alcoholic beverage or something. I just think it's very challenging for many people to maintain this centered, unattached, joyful state. And honestly, you literally don't have to use dating apps anyway. The person will come to you. Like, I know that so deeply, and I've already had experiences like that I'm not going to deal with it anymore. I don't have to. I mean, it puts me in the energy of efforting. But like I said, Catherine, you can use dating apps. It's just about the energy in which you're in as you're using them. But also, you don't have to. Thanks for sharing that, Nicole. Yeah, Till Swan is awesome. Abraham Hicks, Dispenza, love all of them. Tara, I'm going to read your comment out loud because some people are just listening on audio. For an idea suggestion, a silly but feel-good thing that I used to do, I set both sides of my bed up as if a loving partner was coming to bed with me, fold both sides of the bed down at night, 2 bedside tables and reading lights. When it was time to sleep, I clicked off our lights and mentally kissed him goodnight. Then snuggled into bed in happy, warm thoughts. It felt wonderful. I laughed at my silliness, but it really put me in a loving, welcoming state of mind. I did not want to use a dating app. This frame of mind worked for me. I met a beautiful man of the same mindset. So lovely. Blessings to you all and much love. Tara, you're incredible. Thank you for stepping in and being a fairy, throwing your dust all over us. This is exactly what we need. That's so awesome. Did you just pop in because you're like intuitively guided to tell that to us? Or are you like not in that relationship now and you wanted to hear a little bit more information? I don't know. That's awesome. And I have, I think it's Florence Scovel has a lot of people that had stories like this. She's like, yeah, if you want to have a partner, someone, buy 2 chairs instead of 1 or things like that, set up your life for that as if. And I think that's a good thing to do. And that's not silly at all. You can do that if that resonates with you. But yeah, setting up your life and already making space for a relationship. Because if you don't have any space for that relationship to come in, well, it's not going to survive anyway. So any final questions and comments before we close down the talk tonight? This has been really fun. Still want to do a great one heart meditation for myself later tonight. Any final questions or comments? Everyone's like, I've totally got it. My soulmate's coming tomorrow. Just kidding. Jay, nice to have you here. The next IT Live, I don't have it scheduled yet. So it might be next Tuesday. It might be 2 weeks from now. When I do IT Lives, they're usually Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. And I'm doing 2 a month right now, maybe 3. Yeah, if you want to connect more, by the way, like I said, I'm doing a retreat in June called Love Transformed in Dallas. It's literally about this and the energy and connecting, removing love blocks, being in love, literally with yourself, with everyone, mastering relationships. It's not just about a romantic partner. We're doing meditations and walking meditations. It's really powerful. So just check out my website, youtransform.com. Yeah, you don't have to live in Dallas. I mean, it's in Dallas. It's one of the biggest airports in the world. So we have some people flying in from Canada to come to the event. It's in Dallas. It's at a really awesome retreat center as well. So, yeah, that's incredible. Love to have you guys there or see you again sometimes. Thank you for your hearts, for any donations, for any comments, for supporting and following what we're doing here as this One Heart community. So I love all of you, and thank you for being here. I'll see you again soon.